So, said last week we'll go through this long Mishnah Berurah of different halachas of kashrut. So we'll go through the Mishnah Berurah. The Morgan Avram also brings it down for Kitzur, but we'll go through the Mishnah Berurah. I think it's a little bit clearer. Okay, so Mishnah Berurah is over here in Seif Cotton Chaf Beis. It says like this. The Mishnah Berurah says over here in the beginning. It spoke about being Roshim Batzboy Sa'abir. So he says in Morach Batzboy Al Daf Nokov and Suez Oises Gamkin Shari Kivinei Shumanika Klav Ol Adam Al Mashkan Beif. Then says Va'agav Nevar Poim in Gemara Val Poiskim Ikrei Dinei Kaisiv Amoichik V'Davar Shesh Bechiv Chatas V'Davar Shel Potter V'Oso Ke'Ashochan Aruch Kitzur B'Zeh. I'll go through now for Kitzur the halachas of Kaisiv Amoichik because Shochan Aruch didn't go through it. And I'll tell you what's a chiv chatas and what's potter aval osir. And even though everything is osir to do it, we'll see I don't think anything is going to bring down that's mutter. The reason why it goes through it is because when necessary, especially for a chayla, which is very common, and you have to write, then you could tell a guy to do it better for Issa D'Rabbanan than doing an Issa D'Oraisa. It becomes a Shvus D'Shvus, or if he himself wants to do it with a chayla, sometimes we will be making with the shvus. So let's see the halachas. The aleph. Some of them go through quickly, and some of them will stop more on them. Ein case of chayiv. The person who writes about chayiv at sheyichtay v'davar aroshim v'oimid. Till he writes with something that makes a reshima, it shows something, and it stays. V'diyoi, v'shachor, v'sikra, v'kumus, v'me'aftzeh, v'kankantam, v'kliyaferes. All these are different types of inks that are mekayim. V'chol kiyetz behench with dover ha-miskayim, which is a dover ha-miskayim. V'chein ein chayiv asher yichtav al dover shem miskayim. Also, you're not chayiv until you write on something that has kiyim. So miskayim haksav olav. You're going al or, v'klaf, v'niyar, v'eit, v'chiyetz behen. Aval bot ha-kaisiv v'dover she'ein rishumi oimid. If someone writes with something that's not going to last, going b'mashkin, with the water, me'peris, of things that don't last, like kol davar she'ein oimid, potter, ve'ein chayiv. Potter. He's potter, ve'ein chayiv asher yichteh b'davar oimid, al davar oimid. So the whole chiv ksiva is only when you write with something, a lasting thing, on a lasting thing. But if it's a davar she'ein miskayim, either the ink or the paper is not lasting, then it is only potter aval osir.
So happy birthday on a cake would seem to be a cake.
No, if anything it's potter aval osir, right, but even that's miskayim.
You're going to eat it right away.
You're going to eat it, but eating it has to be not miskayim by itself. It has to be not miskayim by itself.
Like
it has old shiloh.
Like writing with frost on a window.
That was potter aval osir.
Right, so I'm saying, because it's not miskayim.
Even if you're going to eat it, but it could last.
But
a cake normally wouldn't last also.
Depends how long. So first, how long does it last?
If you have both of those milers,
if it's it's still also. No. If it's a davar she'ein oimid, al davar she'ein oimid, I don't think so. Answer the question. I don't think so. But something that you're going to erase, so it's going to fall apart because you're going to do something. That was the whole child they had with the Shlem Zalman, the whole child about Fadaktis, the right stuff. If they wanted to write, they used to have those. They don't have any more like those red things with the little knobs inside the kids. What was it called? Whatever. So then, and you like shake it, and it automatically erase. So the whole child that's mutter on Shabbos or not. Because that thing really, when you write, if you leave it, it'll stay for a long time. Or it's not meant to stay, it's meant to erase. So I think the person who might ask for it because it's davar ha'imid.
To what? Two things he does.
Yeah, but it's meant, but it stays. It in itself will stay. The Rabbanan for sure it's also. The question is if it's also mid'oraisa. So the shaila was for doctors to use it for chayla, so that was the whole shach. It could be over this is the Rabbanan, if that's an issa the Rabbanan, this is the Raisa. If I'm not mistaken, they say anything that in itself is going to stay, that it's called a Raisa.
Do they give a time period? Specifically, Christians can give a time period for in the Shabbos?
Time period, that's the question. What's time period? What's called it's more than after Shabbos.
So it's
It has to be more than that. If it's going to fall apart before, like within a day, I think it's not called Shabbos.
So that's the machlokes between Rishonim that he brings down in Erev Shabbos. He says if it's going to be, if it makes it past Shabbos to the end of Shabbos, according to some, that's already considered zabrani.
That's it, yeah.
Right. That would be the minimum shear.
Yeah, the minimum shear stays. So even if it stays.
So, but there's another sheet that says no, because in Eretz Yisrael, what they used to do is the doctors would go back once of Shabbos and write on this. So clearly, right?
When did they write on this?
After Shabbos, they would write with this ink that would dissolve immediately,
and then
after Shabbos they would go back and do the next.
It would dissolve immediately, or
so that's the whole point. It didn't dissolve by the end of Shabbos.
Right, by the end of Shabbos you don't have anything.
Correct.
So that's in past Shabbos.
And yet that was the heter that
was mutter.
So there's others that hold that it has to last 24 to 48 hours.
Right.
So with that heter, but if you if you're going to say you're chayav the minute you make Shabbos is always Shabbos.
Right, you don't get anything. Yeah. Right. I know the shaila exactly what the shear is. I know the shaila. There's no clear. I haven't seen anything clear about how long it has to last in order for it to be chayiv. There's all chiyuv and potter. We're not talking about mutter.
Right.
Everything is asur. For a regular person, everything is asur.
Invisible ink. Is it because we consider that?
Invisible ink. No, it's asur because it's davar oimid. It's a davar she'eina oimid, but it's still potter asur.
Yeah.
It's Patavalasa. The only hatayim would be if it's a chayli or if it's a guy doing it for you for a mitzvah, that would be a hatayim.
But the case of Yerunkus, is that like a piece of lettuce or something you're in?
Well, that's the question. Lettuce or let's say peels of onions, which doesn't last long at all.
But they would last at least till the Shabbos.
Right. They'll last long. That's the day too. And it's only the Rabbanan. That would be a raya that's only us with the Rabbanan on such a thing. Yeah, that would be right us with the Rabbanan. Yeah, the leaves that you write on. The leaves that you write on last after Shabbos. And it's still only the Rabbanan. It will be a raya that the time period is more than just past Shabbos to become chayiv katas. Right? Okay. So that's one din. And then it says, erasing also is only chayiv if you erase davar hamiskayim on a davar hamiskayim v'chazal inyan chayiv katas. אבל איסר דרבנן יש אפילו קוסה בדבר שאיני עמיד על דבר שאיני עמיד וכן לעניין מחיקה is the same thing as an איסר דרבנן. Now מחיקה will have a different heter. If it's a דבר שאיני עמיד על דבר שאיני עמיד or one of them are not עמיד and it's not a moichik on manach lichtoiv, then it'll be also more kal. Right? It's not moichik, it'll be trade derabanans. So it'll be
you're erasing not to right.
Huh?
You're erasing
not to right. So we're supposed to still have a bigger kula. Fine. So that's one halacha. Beis, he says, a kaisav abasaroi, v'dioi, chai b'fnei shu, or you write on your skin, it's chai apisar chamimus b'saroi, v'averes aksav, we spoke about this last week, lach hazman, areza, doim v'leksav shenimchak, avam misaret abasaroi, tzuris, ksav potish, ein derech ksiva b'kach. If you cut into yourself, etch into your skin, it's not called derech ksiva b'kach. It's like a tattoo.
We're talking about whether oil has a special mama, as opposed to other.
Or regular or.
But sorry, no, I'm talking about skin as opposed to leather.
Right, leather keeps, leather stays.
Right.
Here it gets erased afterwards, so it's chayav al-chosef.
So what? Tattoo is allowed?
No, it's allowed. Maybe Shabbos is not also.
No, okay.
It's not derech ksiva, but.
You say that with ink, you can do it.
It's on Shabbos.
You can do it on Shabbos, but not give it for the.
Yeah. Hakareya al-ar, ketavas ksav chayiv. Someone who rips out, cuts out from skin. Ketavas ksav chayiv. Mishum kaisev. Harishim al-ar ksivas Ktav Ksav Potter, because that's not the way you write. Fine. Sit the Gimel. Hakaisiv Ksav Agabi Ksav. Someone writes on top of all the lettering. Dahaina Sheheber Kulmis Al Oisiyos Haksubim Kva Bechitsham Potter. Why? To Lehani Midi, nothing helped. Not so sure what to do with the Ger Shabbos, but if you write on top of something else, it's not called writing because you didn't do anything.
But it's tikkun, isn't it?
It's just called.
I mean, if you have a Sefer Torah and you have an ois, which is.
No, it's something else. The ois is possible when you misak in the morning. That's something else. Akarapatis maybe, that'll be a different issue, not issue kaisim. Not issue kaisim. But the truth is that the Sefer Torah is possible because of it.
Now, so let's say you have a dalet, but the inside of the dalet is it's missing ink. It's missing ink. But you can see the dalet, but you're missing ink.
Right. So that'd be makarapatis maybe. It's already, ois is already there. Behind the middle is if it's black on black or red on red, black on top of red, chayiv shtayim. Chayiv two. Achas mishum kaisiv. One, because you're writing. She'achshav ksav hagan yosef mebirishayna. You're making a better ksav. And the Matthias was that red ksav wasn't a good ksav. Black ksav was a good ksav. So if you had red and you wrote black on top of the red, so now you're making a ksav, and not just that, you're erasing the red. That's called erasing the red. V'achas m'shemoichet, shemoichet b'ksivasa es beis oisiyas atachtainiyos. When we have a sikra, gabediyoi, red on black, potter the mekalkalu, it's considered a mekalkal. So here it depends. If you have a certain color ink, and you want a different color ink, then that's called kaisiv.
The practical shaila today is, can you polish shoes? He brings down. In other words, whether you're chayiv soveya and ksiva, or whether that's only soveya.
What should be ksiva? Who said it's ksiva?
Shevet lady.
It says it's ksiva when you polish shoes.
In addition, yeah. You tell us he says you have both. Soveya.
What are you writing?
I'm just reading. Don't give me a hard time.
Okay.
So I thought you give me the shirt.
You're making pictures on your shoes, maybe, yeah. But you're not making a picture, you're just painting it.
That, he says this is the practical, I don't know.
On top of Nike, maybe?
Did they give a reason? There's no reason.
Oh, that I saw yesterday. That's an interesting shot. If you have Nike written on the bottom of your shoe, can you walk on mud?
Yeah, okay, that's mutter. That's mutter.
I've got no.
If you wear sneakers, do it.
Just do it.
No, it's how you wear sneakers on Shabbos, but that's that.
Okay, as long as the shoe doesn't break.
Same thing as a tattoo. If it's at Shabbos, it may not be a problem.
No, the chashush of the shoe doesn't break.
Can I ask one question?
But if it says floor shine on it, it's okay.
Floor shine, yeah.
Floor shine is okay.
Is that writing about?
You know, like from
Floor shine.
you know, you shouldn't even pick up a pen, right? It's right? So like, how come you're not even mentioning that?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Not talking about. This is the bonus. It's like chiv chatas. Yeah, that's what I mean. But I'm always someone writes is over muktzah, sure. Now, the only time a person has chayiv chatos is if he writes two oises. Afilo hoysig gedoylik k'shtayim poter mechatas is poter avalosam kamokaim isur the writes the ik afilo b'ois achas uchanav b'reish hasimin. There's one ois is an isur chatzi shir also midaraisa, but to write two oises then you chayav chatas. V'ois achas shamanu to poter who afilo hoysig smuchel k'sav shayikosam mikodim here in the b'shabbos lekosam alois achas. Here's a kiddush. If you add one ois to a different ois, you didn't write both times, the tzaref is still potter. Why? Because you only wrote one. The chiv is to write two oises. If you write one, and one was written from before Shabbos,
the two oises make up a word, and then maybe it's high. So
where did it go to one old from? But now it's kaisiv. Kaisiv, you have to write two oises.
So what's the deal? You're saying if you write one letter, you're already within chatzi shir.
Chatzi shir, but that's chayiv chatos. That's chayiv chatos. If you write two letters, it's chayiv chatos.
Okay.
If you write one ois next to another ois, it's still potter avalosam.
Well, why isn't that chatzi shir?
It is potter avalosam.
Therefore,
Also, Potter also could be Issa Deraisa.
Oh, so it is a direct.
Yeah. Potter also is Issa Deraisa. But it won't be a Chayav Chatos, even though right now you have 2 oisis, because you didn't write the first one. You have to write 2 oisis.
Gag.
Aber Zeha Ois Hislam is a Sefer, Chayav the Hanimais of Tuba. Here's a Chiddush. For that one ois, you're finishing the Sefer, not a word. A whole Sefer, then the Gemara says Chayav. Now, exactly why, I'm not getting into that sugya, it's a very square sugya. What's the chilek if I'm finishing the Sefer? What's the chilek if I'm finishing a word? I'm finishing a paragraph? You have a story, right? And you're missing one word, and you're matching that one word to the story, now the story is fine. But it's not a Sefer, not Chayav Chatas. When you're matching a whole Sefer, now you become a Chayav Chatas for some reason. That's what Allah
And he gets into a whole thing, whether it's let's say, you finish at the end of the Torah, or whether it's after Bereshit Shmoy's.
And it's enough.
Yeah.
And that's enough to mechav you.
Right.
The Sefer, because one Sefer is not called a Sefer.
Right.
Yeah.
The very last word and last
No. It can be anywhere in the Sefer Torah. Yeah.
Last letter to the
Yeah, because that's making it kosher. HaKoyse by Achad, the Naked Aleh, the Siman, someone writes one letter. It's like a line on top. So let's say Hey for Hashem. Hey is one letter, but the Hey everyone knows reads it now as Hashem. So that Chaim is Afapi Shekoyim Men Adei Zeh Teva Shleimo Potter. You're still Potter because you have to write 2 oises. That's the Yisod in Goysev. In order to be Chayiv, you have to write 2 oises. Ketzad Gashikos of Ois Mem, Hafakaron Ois Meiser. Mem is a line, everyone knows it means, it stands for Meiser. It's a custom of a mock meaning. You write for a number. So he can write a custom of Aboim. You write 4 for 40. Now, full Hachi Potter, even though from there I know exactly what you want, it's still Potter. Hamagi Ois Achaz Vasa Ois Shtayim. If someone has a ches, he takes away the ches is 2 zayins, the little line, takes it away.
Yeah.
So, take away a toggle of the ches, you make 2 zayins, even though you didn't write the 2 zayins, but you just created 2 zayins. Still that was a ches, you created 2 zayins as if you wrote 2 zayins.
No?
He's doing mechika.
Oh yeah, but by the gag.
Interesting. They don't speak about it, I don't know why. The Gemara says if you erase the gag of the ches, you have what's chesiv. Why aren't you chayav to moichik the ches? You had a ches, you're moichik the ches.
You're not moching the chet, you're moching the connection between them.
So now it's not a ches anymore, you erase the ches.
But not anymore. I mean, the question is whether you wanted the 2 zayin, meaning there was supposed to be 2 zayin.
You want 2 zayins.
And shemoneh is basically writing by mouth.
No, it's moichik Baruch Lichtenstein-KosherTube. You're moichik the ches in order to get 2 zayins.
Right, if you don't want the 2 zayins.
You're not making 2 letters.
Right.
Right. Okay, very good. Maybe Takana is say Chayi because the Mechika is only 1 ice. 1 ice. Okay, very good. Very good. Mechika is only 1 ice.
Okay.
So
even a full ice.
So maybe it's often the Rabbanan after Mechika, but the Chiyuv is only 2 zayins.
For Chatishir.
Also, may I ask for that? It's Chatishir, yeah. It's not
Chatishir, it's Revashir because it's half of the chet.
No. It's called erasing the chet. Now it's not chet anymore.
Okay.
But here's a raya they're being against the Ksav Arizal, the famous raya. Arizal's Ksav is the ches. What's the hook that Arizal's Ksav is Ksav? Ksav is the Zion, the ches. We're looking at Sefer Torah. We're looking at Tefillin. The chiluk between Arizal Ksav and Beiseis Ksav, one of the big differences is the ches. In Arizal, it's a Vav and a Zion with a line on top. Looking at Sefer Torah. Beiseis is 2 Zions with a line on top. That's Beiseis Ksav. It's a Furush Gemara, like the Beiseis. It's a big catch on Arizal. Because it says if you erase the top of the ches and you make 2 Zions. According to the Arizal, it should be a Vav and a Zion. This is one of the big kashrus on the Arizal Ksav. Check it through. Why you probably have the Arizal Ksav? A lot of you probably have a Arizal.
They're almost all based here.
No, it's not. Today?
In any Ashkenaz shul, most of them are ironically, but they're based Yosef.
Yeah. The Chassidim won't have a Arizal. Yeah. Is a Rizal, yeah, that's symbol of a Rizal.
Right.
Yeah. You check.
Arshals here, yeah.
The Cemetery, a lot of you check the tefillin, you'll see it, tefillin is the Rizal. Chassidim won't have a Rizal, a lot of you come from Chassidim. Mr. Friedman, your tefillin is a Rizal or a Seif?
Mr. Friedman. Mr. Friedman is talking to you.
The tefillin is a Rizal or a Seif, Sav?
Rizal.
Rizal, see? Doctor, laser, check the tefillin.
Maybe he doesn't want to.
In my case, I'll make sure
I had
by Rabbi Aronoff. So.
I had one that was 70 years old, and I see that.
Yeah, most of the Chassidim had a Rizal. Most of the Chassidim had a Rizal. Most of you check it, a lot of you check it tefillin, you see it's a Rizal, Sav.
Well, we put it on.
This is right. This is actually like a Rizal. I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying it's a psak. So you have to go like that Rizal. I mean, obviously there's a terrace to it. But this is one of the riots. So I know somebody I told him to check his tefillin. He's married with kids, and he checked his tefillin. And he said, "Was about to repair, whatever?" I said, "First check them, see." So what do you have? Rizal or Seif? He said, "Let me know." I said, "Go check." He came back to me. He said, "Yeah, there's a Rizal, so Seif is Seif."
Covering all corners.
The
heart is the Rizal.
Yeah, maybe it was the opposite. I remember what it was. I'm not sure the head of the heart was the Rizal. I don't know exactly which was which.
The people who put on when you time
Yeah.
why aren't they keeping the Shaliat? Because the Shaliat is actually good for
Same.
us.
Yeah.
Why do we need two sets?
Yeah. What's talking about? That's a good question. Okay. So that's if you erase the top of the ches and you make two zayins, you chayiv for writing two voices. His chaver licht of ches because of shnei zayinim. He had reminded to write a ches, and by mistake he wrote two zayinim because he didn't put the line on top. But he says chaver licht of mem v'olav b'yada chav vav. A mem could look like a chav vav. Ayidei shadilek hakulmis. So I didn't check the ice keroi because creates a bizarre. I raise a potter. Why? So let us chaver el ice achas. His potter also because he had a mind to write one ice. He had a mind to do an issue.
So if you were in mind to have the chet and you raised and it became two zayins, but you didn't have in mind to make the two zayins,
then you potter. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Two letters that you chayiv is even if they don't make a word. Aleph Gimel. Someone writes Aleph and then Gimel. Aleph and Gimel doesn't say anything, doesn't spell anything. Still chayiv, as long as they're next to each other. If they're Shabbos Mishem Echad, meaning they have the same Echad means the same letter. We're going Tes Gimel Ches Ches Dal Dalad. Also chayiv. There's a whole machlokes in the Rishonim. On this is not the negay for now, but if you look at all the words that he says, so when you have two letters that are the same, also chayiv, those two letters are all words. All words.
Right. Yeah.
Chach is a word. So they're all words. There's a big machlokes in the Rishonim. If you write two letters the same, which does not make a word, for example, Aleph, if you're chayiv or not.
You have to be, according to what he said before, because he said mem, even if it means 40, so Aleph could mean number.
No, Potter also, no chayiv.
But you made the chayiv.
No, mem is Potter.
No, mem not, because you're only mem, but it's right, Aleph, you can turn it over.
No, but
it could be a number.
No, it's not a number.
So you have to write something that's red. Aleph is not a word.
No, not a word.
It has to be a word. It has to be a word.
But it's a number. 11 is the Aleph.
Rosh is Potter also.
But if the minhag hamokim is, let's say, to write Aleph is the Efshar, and everybody knows that it's
no, it's still not. It's not red. It's like writing a hay for Hashem. It doesn't.
That's one.
It's not a word. Aleph tells you it means Efshar.
And the strich doesn't count.
No, nothing. So that's the whole machlokes no shot here. If you have two letters, maybe one time when we have time for shemoneh-esrei, we'll go through it. But if you have two letters that are the same and they don't read as a word, it could be it's potter also, not chayiv. Everything is also. It could be potter also. He had a mind to write Titanu, by Gagois, who cuts of Rakstei Oisis, Elu, Behen Afapikain, Chayiv, he's still Chayiv, even though this is the Gemara says, if someone had a mind to write a full word, Shem Yishimon. So he had a mind to write a full word, those are big chiddush in the Gemara, because usually only Chayiv if it's Nasa Machshafta, if I did what I wanted to do. Here, he had a mind to write Shimon, and he wrote Shem, and he didn't end up finishing Shimon. Halacha is a chayiv, because he had a mind to write the Shin Mem. He had a mind to write more also. So therefore, he chayiv. But now, the female should nifsak le'elva Siman ha'mevav, the ein ha'ziyunim shal oisish hatnitz gates. Ma'akiv, the letters shatnitz gates is the Siman of the ziyunim, the crowns they have on top of the letters. Only these letters have them, shatnitz gates. So if you say it's not ma'akev alma demikri ksav v'loyzeh imkenim kaisus v'oisis ha'filu b'stam, even in Seif Torah, tefillah and mezuzahs, the ziyunim, even though it's not the way it's supposed to write, it's supposed to have the ziyunim on top, gam kein chayiv. Kosher ksav v'alma demikri ksav v'chayiv. If you're not writing a Seif Torah, you're writing stam mozaic ksav, avada you are chayiv. Chen yehagim begitim shakaisim b'ziyunim, ken voy be'em v'ne'ezesim kukavav amad hav ksav gam afilu b'ziyunim. Fine. This is also brings down machlokes. It's also machlokes in Siman about it. If Kosher is all languages or only Lashon HaKodesh. We paskin Kosher is all languages. So even if you have English, two letters in English, chayiv. Some Rishonim hold that you only chayiv for Kosher when you're writing Lashon HaKodesh. We're not paskin that way.
And there's certain languages where it's not even a letter, it's symbols. That too would be the same thing.
Two
symbols as opposed to letters. Japanese.
Let's think about that. Japanese, that's if one symbol be chayiv, because really you have to have an ice.
Right.
You have to have two ices. So, and I want to someone speaking about it. I forgot to come out with. Because it could be, if I remember correctly, that it's not called a ksav b'chlal.
Well, no, a symbol could mean a word or a number of words.
But the Japanese and Chinese, these things, there is no ksav.
Right.
There's no ksav b'chlal. Something like that. There's no ksav b'chlal. Ksav means you write letters and they form something. Japanese is all tsuras.
Right, it's all tsuras.
It's all tsuras. You may be chayav or tzura, it's something else.
Like hieroglyphics.
Huh?
Like hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphics.
All Egyptian form thoughts.
Yeah, they're not letters. They're
but that's what Japanese is. That's what the Chinese is.
Characters.
The concept of Rambam is a chiddush over here that fill with shnei shemoneh-esrei. Chayiv, finding that you also have shemonim hamoyim ala mishnah. The Rambam says a chiddush, not like we said before, but he holds that chayiv even if you write two letters for shemonim. For example, iyavshin, aleph aleph. Rambam's chiddush, chayiv even though it's not a word. So Bishop Baruch brings it down. It's mashma. Maybe it goes with that. Chiv deraisa. It's not a game for us really, because anyway, it's also maybe the game for doctors when they want to write something with germiza, so it doesn't form a word. Maybe it's part of a also.
How about shorthand? Let's say, for example, you got people like people who dictate. So instead of letters, they got simonim for words.
So you
like shorthand.
And what do you explain yourself?
When people take dictation, some people,
there is a stenograph. It's called
stenograph means instead of writing the full word like bird, they'll write the
siman. They write the siman. They make it siman.
So then they can afterwards go.
One siman is one word.
So one siman is part of Avalasa.
But it's one word.
It stands. It stands for a word.
It's a
no, that's what we had before. Siman is a tzura.
Yeah. It's not an actual.
That's a shayla. A tzura is different. A tzura yechayiv. This there said now yechayiv for two oisius is only when you're writing.
Right. So this
a tzura is different. A tzura yechayiv is one tzura. Even one picture yechayiv. When you make a picture of a person, yechayiv for that picture. Even though it's only one picture.
No, these things are like dashes and whatever they are.
No, not like exactly dashes. There are lots of signs that are
right. At symbol.
So that's
interesting.
When you're doing the tour, is it chayiv when you finish the tour or as soon as you start?
When you finish the tour. Yeah, you have to finish the tour. And if the tour is halfway done and you finish, you're also chayiv. the Chayav and the Gemara of the Sunnah. If you have an ice that's not fully written and you finish that ice, it's also. You take two ices, like two zayins, or a ches. It's called you made it. Because we had this before already. If you write two different papers, you could put them together. You write at each end, you write two letters, even though we said one was in superior, one was in inferior. If you can be makar of them, we saw that you chayiv. The kroisam ka'achas, since you could read it together. So look at Gevil. Because of what's false saying. It's achas from Medina Zu. Ba'olach v'yisad yam because of Shnei from Medina Acheres. We had before from Megillah Acheres and a whole different Megillah Asfasa Chayiv. Why? Shebizman shemekavom nehegim zeh zeh. Ein mechusar ma'aser lekevosov. There's no mechusar ma'aser to put it together again. Avon kosav ois achas ba'oret. Ois achas b'koira. One on the floor, one on the ceiling. It's because of base because of bites. Why you rechakim zeh mizeh. Shnei dape pirkis ba'ofen she'ein hegim zeh mizeh potter. You write two letters in the middle of a page, and they can't be read together. Potter. So they have to be able to be read together. Fine. Zayin. Akoisiv is small. Someone writes with his left hand. Oyla acha yoda, the back of his hand.
So just a second. So you could write a whole book with just one letter on each page, right?
Correct. You won't be chayiv. Potter avalas. Yeah. Right. You write one letter, another letter, because it's not chayiv. Two letters only when the hegim zeh. If you write in the middle of a page, one letter, then another letter, then anachami. Yeah. Potter avalas. Fine. Is halacha zayin? He said, oy zayin. Hakoisiv b'smoil. Someone writes with his left hand, or the achayad with the back of his hand. Viragla with his foot, the pib with his mouth, Mapaka with his elbow, Potter. There's no derech siva l'kamokim v'sura yesh. Afilu viragla chaygamah. And it says also Potter also is a very famous heter. People who have to write on Shabbos. Write with the left hand, write with the the back of your hand. There's different terim how to write if you have to write.
Does this apply to all other halachas also?
So let's see. We'll see soon. We'll speak about it soon. Iter shekasa biyaminoi shehi loy kismoil. Lefty that writes with his right hand, which is like his left hand. Shehi kismoil adam. Potter ben kasa b'smoil chayiv. Someone who could write with both hands the same, because of so a person who is what do they call it? Okay, now we got that word straight. That type of person is chayiv with any hand that he writes.
Translator.
He plays on both sides.
Chai Adam, so there's a guy. There's a Chai Adam. I saw it right here. It's not right. The Chai Adam that says that this that you write with the left hand is called the shinui is only by ksiva, only by writing. Because when you write with the left hand, the whole ksav comes out differently. It's called a shinui. But the famous shinui of turning on light with the left hand or the elbow is not called a shinui, because the outcome is the same. Nothing changes. So you turn on with the left hand is not called a shinui. Especially if you do with your foot or with your back, that maybe it's called a shinui. But this that you have a shinui, people have a tendency of taking this halacha and applying it to all malacha Shabbos. That's only after midrabanan if you do it with your left hand, which is not true. Chai Adam says it's not true because only kaisiv with the malacha changes when you write with your left hand. But if the malacha doesn't change, it doesn't make a difference. There are certain things that the malacha changes with the left hand.
Like sewing, maybe.
Like sewing, yeah. Sewing. If you sew with the left hand, it comes out funny. Right.
So it's you look at the outcome.
You look at the outcome.
That's what's important.
Yes.
The outcome.
Correct. You look at the outcome. The outcome is the same. The left hand doesn't make a difference.
It depends on the outcome.
Shouldn't depend on the outcome. Correct. Now that's with the left hand. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I thought that Mr. brings it down. Maybe it brings it down soon. I thought the Chai Adam speaks about a left hand. But if you do it with your foot or with your back or something like that, that may still be called a shinui. But the left hand definitely Chai Adam is not called a shinui for other malachas.
I think I told you this. Rav Silver told his chavura that Rav Cutler. So this is, I'm telling you where I'm getting this from. So
yeah.
Okay, that the lights were out in the Beis Medrash on a Shabbos.
So you throw his left hand.
The goy to do it with his elbow.
His elbow.
Yeah.
Now with his left hand. Okay, so
it was with a shinui. So I don't know if that's only because
he said a shinui said elbow.
There, but I heard the story from things. In other words, but this is my sirab that the idea was that to turn the lights on in the Beis Medrash, they asked the goy to do it
with a shinui.
Yeah. I don't remember.
So that's what's called a shinui. That's what's called a shinui. That's a shayla. What he meant by a shinui.
Could it be there that it's just because it's Rabim and then you have a different head?
No, but it has to be called a shinui first. It's a goy doing a shinui. But if his left hand is not called a shinui, then for a goy it's also not a shinui.
Because the Tailas is that the outcome is going to be the same. The light's going to go on perfectly well.
Right.
So whether he does it with his feet or with his hands.
Yeah, but there's something called a shinui. Even though I remember I had a shadow once.
But is it outcome dependent? They're so different.
It's outcome dependent, but not totally. The left hand is not enough of a shinui unless it's outcome dependent. If you do it with your toe, that's called a shinui.
But
in itself.
Even though the
outcome is the same. Correct. Even though the outcome is the same.
So there's two levels.
Correct. It's okay. The Chai Adam says it with the left hand. So the left hand is not enough of a shinui if the outcome is the same. But if you do more of a shinui, for example with your foot, maybe that's enough of a shinui even though the outcome is the same. Even though the outcome is the same.
But when you do it to avoid Amir Slak and
it's a Derabanan. The whole Shiloh, tell the guy, second day Yom Tov is a big Shiloh. If it's called the Shvus. The second day Yom Tov is Derabanan. And a guy is Derabanan. So Tzarech Mitzvah, this side comes up on every Yom Tov. The oven goes off, and you want to get the guy to turn back on the oven for you, for Yom Tov. So Yom Tov Sheni, Yom Tov Rishon you can't. Yom Tov Sheni, it's a Shvus, because it's a guy and it's Yom Tov Sheni. So the question is if Yom Tov Sheni is called a Shvus, or no. The second Shvus of Yom Tov Sheni, we're not mitzaref it to make it a Shvus. It's a big shayla.
How's it a Shvus? I missed something.
Yom Tov Sheni is the Rabbanan and a guy.
Havara on Yom Tov Sheni is...
No, turning on oven, not Havara. Havara is an electric oven. Electric oven is it's Yom Tov Sheni, it's the Rabbanan. Electric oven could be a deraisa. Electricity could be a deraisa.
Right.
So, but it's Yom Tov Sheni, so it's the Rabbanan, and the guy is doing it to Shvus. Right? So that's a shayla if you could be semich on that. Every Yom Tov Sheni.
That's an interesting application of Shvus, because usually we look at the issue that you're doing. Because here you're bringing in the fact that Yom Tov Sheni is your Rabbanan.
Correct. That's a shayla.
That's a very interesting.
That's a question if you use Yom Tov Sheni as a tzira for Shvus. It's a big shayla.
Okay.
How are we getting to this now?
Because that's not the typical Shvus. You look at the action that's being done, and here, because it's electricity, it would be an Issa Deraisa.
Correct.
So telling a guy.
But Yom Tov Sheni is a Shvus. Could be. Yom Tov Sheni we hope in the game Mace Yom Tov Sheni is a Shvus.
Yeah.
So Yom Tov Sheni is a Shvus. So that's a shayla. So the rest is not so easy to be made.
The shoes were Malka Mitzvah too, if you're talking about
Shvus is a Malka Mitzvah. It's a food for Yom Tov. Shvus is a Malka Mitzvah.
But the act is still an Issa Deraisa. In other words, you can use a Shvus. You're using it.
Using Yom Tov Sheni. Yom Tov Sheni.
Taking Yom Tov
Sheni as a Shvus. Yeah.
But the act that you're doing comes.
No, the act you're doing is only your outcome.
But the act being done is a Deraisa.
If you did, not if the goy is doing it.
But that's true on a regular Shabbos, on any thing. In other words, I get it, but it's
not... It's you're right, it's not your regular Shvus. That's why it's a shayla. That's why it's a shayla. That's a pasha. You can be semich on it. Pasha can't be semich on a Shvus for Yom Tov Sheni. That's a shayla. You were semich on Shvus Yom Tov Sheni. Big machlokes place scheme uses very very easily. Shvus Yom Tov Sheni is always a Shvus a guy. And if you always use it for any tzarech mitzvah you want.
But in that circumstance, would it help to say to the girl in Yom Tov Sheni to do it with a shinui?
So that's a shayla. So the shayla was, so if the guy does it with a shinui on Yom Tov Sheni, that's a shayla.
So take a regular Shabbos.
If he
does it, this is deraisa, right?
The Shabbos is
a drabbanan. So you now want him to do a deraisa.
Yeah. You want a joy to do an iser b'shinui on a regular Shabbos.
Right.
Shvus to shvus. So that's what's called a shinui. So I remember I spoke to Sean about this a few times, and he's very against relying on shvus to shvus b'yom tov sheni. I pushed him a little bit. I said I need a heter because I have no food b'yom tov. So he told me, tell the guy to do it with his elbow. So I said, an elbow's called a shvus. So he told me, shinui. Yeah, because it's a shinui. So he says, Yom Tov Sheni, a guy with the elbow, no. Put all the two of them together, and it was Mekel. So it didn't, no. He didn't find it was a Mekel on Shabbos, a guy to do with his elbow. Yom Tov Sheni, he was Mekel for guy to do with the shinui.
So it's a very big difference between writing on Shabbos is going to be with a shinui is going to be a drabanan.
Right, for sure. Writing is a short drabanan, yeah.
It's going to make it a drabanan, but having the
the malach is not. Yeah. That's the chayadam.
Where's this chayadam?
I don't know. I thought Mr. Brewer brings it down. He still does bring it down.
Maybe the Magen Abraham.
Okay, so let's see a little further in the Mishnah Berurah. Now we get to the Chayadam. Cotton Eiches V'Kolmes V'Godl Eiches V'Yadam V'Koysev Chayiv Shehu Ikeh B'Malacha V'Cotton Lav Klum Oven. If a cotton's holding the pen and the Godl is writing, then the Godl is Chayiv because the cotton's not doing anything. Godl Eiches V'Kolmes, the Godl is holding the pen. The cotton Eiches V'Yadam V'Koysev Potter. The V'Zeh Godl V'Avad Klum. The Eiches V'Kolmes N'Schavet N'Sayeya. Messiah, Italia, Achir, Bo'eches, Mekomis, depends how much he's helping out. Fa'akresev al-manas l'kalkol, ha'or, chayish, en chiv al-mokam aksav, al-aksav, al-amoichik al-manas l'kalkol potter. Haroshim Mishamim Mitsuris B'kaisem. B'sheishan. Someone who makes pictures on a wall, B'sheishan is a type of paint or something. Chayetzi b'hel k'derech shatziyorim b'ishmei. Harezeh told us, Kaisev, v'chayiv mishum Kaisev. Or Tzura, is chayiv mishum kaisev. Surah b'kli tzura. Surah b'kli tzura. A kli, if you make a tzura on a kli, it's also chayiv. Afilu oisem miksasa chayiv mishamaka patish v'gemar malachta shel kli. If you make even part of it, you finish it off. You chayiv. Here it says a chayiv atmakam patish. You're finishing off the kli. Chen hamoichik as a roishim k'der sakin harezeh told us moichik v'chayiv. Also the Chabad.
A stamp.
A stamp? Which one's the Shabbos? Someone makes a stamp on Shabbos. Fair tzura, a word.
No, it's miskayim. I mean, even if you...
Yeah, I guess it's called Yerayim Reisis. I guess so.
Because even though... Because you can still read it even if you hold the stamp there, because it's the opposite way around.
Yeah, but you put it on the paper.
No, the question is whether even before you put it on the paper, can you create the stamp? Because the OCS already...
Yeah.
You
want to stamp something on Shabbos.
Right.
Chersh v'chayiv. Doesn't say how you write it, but it doesn't say how you write it.
I think the kids have a little toys when they play and they make snaps, pictures and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's really awesome. Chayiv.
It's a tzura,
it's chayiv. Yeah, also the Chabad Oisis al Kesef B'Broiches. We spoke about this last week. You now put on the letters onto the Broiches of Yetzer Boy Duke and Kaisev and also the Hesed Mena Duke and Moichik. V'ayim V'Chaye Adam Klal Hazayim Ashikotze B'Zeh. I spoke about this last week. I didn't get back. I forgot to ask about taking some letters and forming a word with it.
Oh, sorry, it was scrambled.
Yeah. So I forgot to check it.
Well, that's basically the same thing as a printer who goes into the printing shop on Shabbos and starts putting letters together to print the Shabbos.
Yeah, that's a chana also.
That's a chana. Well, I know it's a chana, but I'm saying is to put letters together there.
Yeah, the same thing. Same as that.
Did we discuss what happens if let's say in a short parochas and the forms have the letter?
Yeah, so that's okay. That's mutter. That's mutter because we had before.
No, it's your kreva.
No, it's a kreva. That was the whole Taz. Yeah. Right? That was the whole Taz. What was it again?
Yeah, but
it's fun. It's fun. Open and close is fun. Yeah. Open and close is fun. That's the Taz. But you shouldn't do it. it shouldn't be done if you're making a kodesh that way, but it could be it's better. It could be it's better than the case of the Sfarim. It could be it's better than the case of the Sfarim. Why is it better? You have Keser Torah, right? They open it up, and they put together Keser Torah. It's put together.
The stuff is in half, and the stuff comes together.
That much happened, yeah? It splits the middle of the word?
I don't know.
No, that's the part.
You do have the Keser Torah.
It's actually better if they're separate letters, that they're already pre-formed.
Letters forming the letter. Yeah, the matter of the make on that. The make on the practice. Even though we saw that you shouldn't do it inside the Sfarim, the Chatchili you shouldn't do it.
No, we should why some people have the brachas that opens one way and
one way only, not
two separate. Just open one way.
Bring it together again. Yeah, I think they make on the practice. Okay.
You would hope, otherwise it'll be not clear.
V'aten Nevari says, "Ksas minyana mechika v'sirtur tamachik savaga amras lifta if someone erases amras lifta v'macham achak shteises chayv afilu ois achas." If it erases one ois, if you gedoyla, v'yesh v'mekayim the list of shtayim chayv. V'moichik amras l'saken afilu shlem amras lifta if you erase oisis v'seirois v'tayra u'mechmachar gam ken chayv. You erase one ois, and it fixes up the whole Sefer Torah. Also you chayv. Oh, here it is. Kosav Chai Adam. I know we'll get to it eventually. Kosav Chai Adam. The Chol HaMalachos, Chutz Mikosev, all Malachos besides Kosev, Chayiv, Bein B'Yaminoi, Bein B'Smailoi. The Chayiv sign in the right hand, sign in the left. And here's the Chai Adam. Maybe Rayel is with the Sefta, Perik Yud. Oh, it says the first. Ach, the Ragloi, the Fiv, Umafakoi, Mashma Sham, the Potter V'Aser. It's mashma from the Chai Adam. If you do it with the elbow, that's called a shinui. This is a very important Chai Adam. So he says for sure, B'Smoil, he says in other malachas, if the outcome is the same, then it's not a shinui. With the elbow and the foot, and there already he says maybe it's enough of a shinui that it's not Chai, it's only Potter Avalos. That's the Chai Adam. It says mashma. Shabbos doesn't have a clear achra, it says mashma.
That's very important. So now if you have a regular case on Shabbos, regular, right?
You will tell the guy to turn on the light with his elbow.
To do it with an elbow.
Yeah, it's supposed to Mocha Mitzvah. That's a Mocha Mitzvah.
But you don't have to, but your first one is not a Shavuos. You have to make it into a Shavuos.
Right, yeah.
Is there a whole thing about difference between LED lights and regular Hashmal? One is whether one is direct or not, because one is really...
So regular Chashmal, if it's a bulb, that has a flame, that has a fire, that's a difference. That's electricity. That's electricity.
It's still...
That's child of electricity.
On LED, no.
I said LED, no.
Yeah. On a regular light, you have incandescent, you have a filament that's going to become hot and it's going to become red.
That's Aish.
That's going to be Aish, it's Mavir.
Right. But the LEDs...
Fluorescence is a different issue and LED is a different issue.
LEDs because of electricity. You're turning on electricity on Shabbos. Yeah, that's all electricity of Shabbos. LED, the Shabbos is not a fire of Aish, not a Shabbos of Aish. The only Shabbos is electricity. That's the Shabbos. Everyone holds it's a chasm of the Rabbanan, electricity.
Yeah.
The difference is, which is the big shayla, which I talked about recently also, the LEDs, they're not muktzah. A regular bulb is muktzah. If you have a night light, let's say, right? Yeah. You have a night light with the old bulb. I don't find them anymore even. They're muktzah. Why? Because it's Aish inside. It's fire there. It's red hot, has been like Aish. But the LEDs are muktzah. It's not muktzah LED, so you're not to move it. You have an LED clock. You're not to move it. It's not muktzah, why can't you move it? I think most of the person hold it out to move a LED clock on Shabbos. So my question was, if they have today the LED flashlights.
Yes, you're right.
Right? So why can't I leave a flashlight on Shabbos? If I need light, I'll go from room to room with a flashlight on Shabbos. What's wrong? Any answer? The reason why it says in the place scheme that a lamp is also because it was a fire. Fire is muktzah. LED is not muktzah. So why can't I leave a flashlight on Shabbos and walk around from room to room if you need to find something. Where are the gates?
Shema Yitakim. Maybe it'll go out and you'll try and...
Okay, so you make up a new zero. You're a bit machmer.
We know that.
It should be also. What should be the issue? What should be the issue? So I didn't get an issue yet. But sometimes he can't be mad to it. There's too much of a pizza. But clocks, he was matter. If you want to move a clock from room to room, you have a clock, you want to move it to a different room, LED, mutter. The same thing if it's in the form of a flashlight, he doesn't want to be matter. And I understand where he's coming from.
There's those new Shabbos clocks, like Shabbos lights,
right,
that are made of LED lights.
Right.
And they look like a real lamp. It's like a gooseneck.
Right.
So those, when they're on, you can move it around and reposition the light.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what should come out. He's not so happy with it. He's not so happy with moving the lights. The flashlight for sure not. Okay, we'll have to still get back to that. But that's the difference in the LED lights.
But on the Yom Tov Sheni, he'd be okay with that.
No. Okay, I'm a sartate niyar, someone who makes lines in a paper of a cloth of chitz, like the lichters to eisiyos, in order to write to oises takas oises sirtet under the lines, chayiv. So here is preparing for writing, and sirtet is one of the avalachas, and it's chayiv. Chenke sheroitz lachtech or, Eishad dvarim esartet toit chiluk kadei sheichav in the chatuchai, gamzel v'chal masartet, if you make lines in order to be able to cut it on the lines, also it's v'chal masartet, and it's also, but if you make lines on a cake to cut the cake correctly, there's no masartet b'oichel. You have to worry about that. Only in the or, if you make lines to cut it, then there's the masartet.
But isn't that anyway halacha? I mean, you're already preparing something for, even if you're not going to cut it.
Yeah, the also right. For the kashrut etzim shemavidim chutz or sikra, you put a red line agabe a karer kadesh yinsar b'shava in order to go to cut it in the right place. Or you have gvolim she'oisen came ba'avana, people who cut rocks. They shifatzel ever b'shava, when they break it, they should break it in the line. Kol zeh b'chal masartet ve'echad masartet b'tzeva or b'loy tzeva reiz echad. Whether it's with a dye or not, as long as you're making a line in order to be able to cut correctly afterwards, that is chayiv. In Iraqi, because that says the SEMICHA Program, the levar is a davar who the raisa or shepata v'asa midrabanan v'nafkamina and Yehudi b'mokem mitzvah. The reason why it's so myrich is because nafkamina the kamel mesimis from Zion it's a deraisa ein matira idei and Yehudi afil b'mokem mitzvah. Fine. So that is the hilchos kosher. This is the one with Seif, hey. Mutter lisham b'tzipoyin al sefer. We did this already quickly. We didn't go fully. You either make a mark on a sefer. K'moishe roishmin v'simin she'ein zeh b'davar hamaskayim. It's not called a davar hamaskayim, but it's mutter. If you look at the Mishabura, mutter v'yesh machmirim v'zeh v'ayim v'alacha. So machmir that they don't let you make a roishim. So here, if you look at the Mishabura on the next page, the Mishabura the Ramaskal Mutter. No, the Biur Halacha, I mean. Mutter. That means the beginning of a line.
Yeah.
Hine
abach v'ataz hikshol divrei HaTorah shachanach. When I sit in the Perek the Roshim will come away kosher. Now be Roshim. So came Roshim al Kroshe HaMishkan. Why are you saying you make a Roshim on something that's mutter? Why is it mutter? Roshim is the same issue as kosher. Later, Eza Ben Zugay. When you Roshim stay with Shemesh with Davar HaMeskayim Chayav Katos. If you have Davar HaMeskayim, it's certainly also midrabanan. Why is Roshim mutter and a sefer should be also midrabanan? It's the same thing as kosher, even though it's not Davar HaMeskayim. Still, it should be also midrabanan.
Is that basically something that is taking attendance? He wants to put a mark.
Correct. Yeah, same thing. Roshim should be also midrabanan. If you do two, which we also it's a deraisa. So for these, we Mishnah Sham Indian kosher b'davar HaMeskayim. Because of the Osir Lisham B'Tzipoinen Af Roshim Echad Ve'Via Magavram V'Ataz Heref Uzer Miyashim B'Dechik Ayin Sham. So the Kitzah, he says the Shiloh to be machmir by Roshim also. To make a Roshim. So here's where the poskim.
What is the case of having Russian B'tzikon? You're using your finger?
Finger, yeah.
Like a nail.
Fingernail.
Fingernail.
Yeah.
So you're...
It makes an indentation. So now you know. But let's think about it. If you want to bend the page.
Doesn't need the
to know where you hold it.
Right?
Huh?
What they used to write with the.
No, it's from his fingernail.
That's my question. The fingernail, they say, is no good. You can't do that. Or you can't
no, you can't do it.
You can't do it. But what about bending the page like that?
Okay, so bending the page also is a roshim. Right, so this is the matter of all the places. Even according to the Bach, that it's mutter because you don't need the roshim. It's like putting a tissue inside. You don't need the bend. You'd rather that it doesn't make a bend. You'd rather there's no bend on the page. But so that's how you're keeping it in place. So you're folding it in. That's mutter.
But that can be like really permanent, like that.
Yeah, but you don't need
years later.
Yeah, but you don't need the indentation. You need the page to be bent over. That's what you need. Indentation you don't need. We're talking about the point means you make indentation on the word. You want that word. So you want the indentation under the word. So that's the shaila. And the Halacha brings out a chumrah that some people are machmir on it on the indentations. Now, if you look at Chaf Hey, Sivkan Chaf Hey, the dafka beklaf hakosher to the zmanim ha'yikosfen ala klaf, and it wouldn't last forever. On the yard, also we do it on a piece of paper. Also the miskayim who it stays. The dafka b'tzipoyin averation be'ezer kli she'oiser v'shima amuka yetzer af al klaf ve'eit also the minken heitev u'miskayim. So Mr. Bruce says it depends. The only time it's mutter is when you take a tzipoyin on the olden time klafs that were hard and they wouldn't keep the indentation for too long. But our paper where the indentation can stay for a long time, or you're using a kli to make indentation, or which lasts for a long time, that's usher. That's a roshim, it's usher. So here's where the person go into it. It's such a big sugya, which I'm not going to really get into it. But the whole thing with the roshim with computers. Computers are not chaysiv. What are you doing? When somebody's going ahead and pressing buttons in a computer, right? Let's forget about electricity now. Pressing buttons, right? Is that called chaysiv? Not called chaysiv. I don't know if it's called chaysiv. What is it? You're not writing anything. It's on the screen. A second later, it's gone. So that's what they speak about. If that's called roshim, because it stays for a long time. In the discs, everything today, all digital information today, may be considered roshim. And it's a roshim that's a miskayim. So even if you don't see it, let's say you're doing something and you don't see it. For example, someone asked me a question yesterday that he has his house that have the cameras. You know, they're outside, the cameras security cameras, security monitors. So he told me he shuts it off before Shabbos. But there's a little light that blinks. He said, why is the light blinking? He says, well, someone walks by, it blinks. He said, why is it blinking? He says, because it is videoing, but you don't see it in the house. It's shut off, the screen is shut off, but after Shabbos, you can turn it back on and you can see everything. That's a regular roshim. There's
no light blinking.
Also, no, I just want to know why the light was blinking.
But the kosel, they have the same thing. They have a kosel cam 24/7.
Yeah.
Even on Shabbos.
Yeah, that's a pashut.
It could be Israel going to the kosel.
No, it's if you go to the kosel. The question is in your house. You have security cameras running all Shabbos? Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a pashut that's mutter. That's a pashut that's mutter. That's why you don't have security cameras running all Shabbos.
Because it's everywhere, on the streets, everywhere now.
That's all it's called roshim. What's happening is you're making roshimis on something that's being saved.
You're blinking your eyes.
Yeah, let's check into it.
You're recording something.
That's the question. You're allowed to have security cameras on Shabbos.